All right, traders, welcome to today's recap. This is Christian from Hertz Tribeca Trade Group, and it is Thursday, June 6th. And I've got up Beyond Meat. Look at this name. This is not only a cult stock, but it's got the momentum right now. So just reported earnings, and it kind of reminds me of what happened with what was the pot stock? Tillery, TLRY. These names, these IPO names, once they've got the momentum and the wind behind them, they can really have some explosive upside, and then you just have to be really disciplined if you're playing some of these names. I don't have a position in this one. I'm just an outsider looking in at this thing. ZM also very nice. Which also, doesn't have any earnings history, but this has also become, look at these names, up to $88. And I do use Zoom. I'm anxiously awaiting the Slack IPO, or not IPO, it's a direct listing. Two VPOCs taken out here on Zoom, so that might be as far as it goes, but we'll see. It's absolutely has momentum to it, and really two of the successful IPOs of the year. But so let's go on to the overall market. Where to start with the moves today? Let's go over the overall performance for the day. SPY's finished up 65 basis points, so a little bit more than 0.5%. The diamonds, which I thought was pretty impressive. I don't normally look at the Dow every day because it's a price weighted index and it's only 30 stocks, but that actually outperformed. I actually liked the short term chart in the Dow. IWM was the underperformer. We'll get to that in a second. That actually finished in the red on the day. The Q's up 80 basis points, and so again, they did right around what the Dow did for the day and outperformed the Qs, and really had an end of the day surge to them. So let's bring up the S&P chart. Quick announcement is we are what we've been doing over the last month is a weekly webinar. We do what's called Chart Forum, where we spend I think we spend about an hour and a half. It's for members only. So if you are not a member of Tribeca Trade Group, it's one of the benefits of being a member, and the teamwork that we have in the room. I just wanted to say something about the teamwork that we have every day in the room. I mean, it's great. It's really great to be a part of a team, and I'm really proud for what I've assembled in the last few years in the Tribeca Trade Group. We've got an exceptional group of traders. Everybody's on the same team and looking to help one another. So I'm just really excited, and I like to mention this, and I should probably do it more often. Just about how thankful I am to have such a great group of traders, and such a great community of traders that we have on a daily basis. So on last night's, I think we really kind of honed in on some points yesterday. We always start with the technicals and the indices and what to watch. Some really fine points in the S&P to watch. I'll go over those just really briefly because I want to go over a little bit more about the overall price action and the headlines and all that fun stuff, and just the message. But this is moving. I mean, this is kind of doing what we wanted it to do. The main level that I'm watching for the week, you've probably heard me say this level now a bunch of times, but look at this thing. So again, we still have one day left of the week. So 28.1775 is my level, and I'm just shocked to see this. Of course, I was shocked last week. I didn't think that we were going to fall that far last week, but look at us come back like this. So we'll see tomorrow. There's a lot of questions that I've gotten about. We were also talking about this, but both on Twitter as well as in the trading room today. So for the jobs report tomorrow, I don't know. I'm thinking. My thought is, I'm not really worried about it, to be honest. The jobs report. We had the ADP number come in lighter than expected. I tend to, for the most part, ignore the ADP number because it doesn't always. It's not always in line with what the actual real report is, the change in non-farm payrolls. So we'll see. But you have to think about this. A little bit of a scenario analysis. If it's a bad report, I don't think that the market's going to sell off that much because that gives the Fed ammo to give them reasoning to go ahead and cut rates, right? So that's probably that's I don't think that that's a bad thing. The Fed easing and stimulating and providing more liquidity into the market. So I don't think that that's a bad thing. If it's a stronger than expected report, I think the market's still going to be kind of focused on the trade war. And even if it is a positive report, I think the Fed is still, from what Powell said earlier in the week, they're still going to be there if the market goes, not the market, well, they've been, I think, watching the market, but if the economy goes south, they're still going to be there, it sounds like. So, and again, it's just one report. So and maybe I could be wrong because I'm not expecting anything. The market always seems to do what the opposite of what people's expecting, but I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that much of a market mover tomorrow. So we'll see if I'm right tomorrow. That's at 8:30. We'll go over those numbers live in the trading room tomorrow. So, but yeah, so we'll see how this. So we got one more day for the week. Notice this 28.17 or 28.18. Would like to see us close above there tomorrow, and then also 2800. So even if we have a small negative day tomorrow, I think that'll be fine. In terms of the technicals. It is funny about this market. I tweeted something last night about not being overconfident in this market, and coming to terms with it's really okay to not know what the exact next move is going to be on a day-to-day basis. The best thing I could say, and I know that this is difficult with all the headline risk that we've got going on. By the way, I think with the headlines, even though Mexico right now is front and center, and then China will be in a couple weeks with the G20 meeting, that there will be some obviously a lot of headlines coming forward the next couple of weeks, but it seems like right now the market isn't really reacting as much as it was, and trying to follow I've got Bloomberg on all day long, and sometimes listening to CNBC as well, but it actually helps a little bit just to turn the volume down low and just watch the price action, because the price action has been telling us all week long. Of course, every step of the way, I think there's been doubting by everyone, right? Doubting, oh, well, this could happen or that could happen. But if you just kind of stay the course, and it actually helps as well to watch some of the single names. There's been a lot of different movers going on. I mean, utilities were on fire yesterday, as well as a lot of defensive areas, but it shifts around, and I just think the participation has been really good. I'm going to bring up the advanced decline line, but let's do this first. Let's where do I have this? Here we go. This is, and I'll zoom this in so you don't have to squint. But I've been doing this especially because we've been having these. It's been very notable what's been happening after the close, especially like for the last couple weeks. Remember what the trend was the last, before this week. Last couple of weeks were wherever the market opened, it would get sold off. Equities would get sold off, except for the defensives, and bonds were going up. Bonds actually had a really good reaction to this. So this was kind of a wishy-washy day. Maybe not, that's not the right term. I have to think about something better than a wishy-washy day. But for example, TLT bonds were up at one point like 1% on the day, and they finished just up 30 basis points. And they actually finished lower than where they opened. So, something like that I think is a positive, right? They tried to rally, and they're still above the short-term moving averages, so there's nothing majorly to say, oh, well, that's a top. A top is in for bonds. But the fact that the ZB was flat for the day, the long bond was flat, so it does look like it's losing its momentum. Now, again, hasn't lost the 5-period moving average, so I would say not yet, but I would say this thing is a candidate to kind of fill this in. here, given that it's not holding the rallies right now. So that is a good thing. That's, again, that relationship I've been watching now for a while between bonds and equities, because I think that was the big story of May, was that bonds and stocks did the exact inverse, did the exact opposite. What didn't participate? So there's a couple head scratchers today. Again, it seems like we're not getting completely clear, 100% clear signals. Small caps were down. They looked like they were going to break down earlier. I even thought that they gave a short signal for the day in here. Right in the beginning of the day, they broke value, came back, retested, failed, and then just kind of chopped around. We did actually go lower uh, around 11:30 to 12 o'clock. They took out the lows. They were down over 1%. And then we started to rally back throughout the session. So, again, I think IWM is something to keep an eye on, because, again, it is market leading at times. I think more often than not. So we'll see what they're going to do here. Then things kind of switched during the day. With that move in bonds, I was watching a lot of things. Like, I traded Walmart today. Walmart actually closed fine. I got out of it today. I was kind of chicken. Why would I be chicken in Amazon? I'm sorry, Walmart, because I don't love the company, to be honest. So I really like the technical setup, but I don't. It's not one of the names that is one of my favorite names to kind of own. So I was in and out of this one for a day trade. Maybe I should have left a trailer on, but I was able to hit two targets before I took the last piece off. So nice move there. And then other defensive type names, Coca-Cola, Pepsi is another one. So these are still moving pretty decently. This one I can't believe. I do want to short this one, Hershey's, but it's been overbought now. So these are things without a pure signal. I mean, it's no doubt it's extended here. I mean, and I think it's due to at least come back. But uh, you know, you want to be careful with names that are the trend is your friend, and doing that. So I do think it's due for a check back. We were talking about this one a little bit, but man, oh man, has this one been on an absolute tear. So yeah, so these are still, the defensives are still strong, and it is nice to have some different groups, and to pay attention to the momentum that's in the market, right? You could trade any of these. Also, the beauty of some of these names is that the options are cheap, right? So I think this one saw a little bit of calls today versus open interest, Conagra, but it is nice to have some different names. And then what we noticed, right around that 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, is then the software names like took off to like a rocket. I was able to make some money on this trade, which I was down on for the last few days, because this got hit hard. But AYX came back. You go back to some of these names like ServiceNow, again, it's really strong, and they just don't stay down for long. It is the same pattern time and time again. They get hit over the head once in a while because valuation, and when there's big sellers, they're going to sell these names off. But man, do they come back strong. Look at Twilio. They just come back with such momentum. TTD, amazing. Look at this move. And a lot of them look like they had false breakdowns. The other one is Shopify. Just unreal. I mean, and you would look at some of these charts and be like, what pullback? What was so weak? But again, they've been the market leaders, and I still think they're until proven otherwise. Now it's nice to see other groups participate, and you can jump on those names. McDonald's is another name that has been extremely strong. Look at the move in McDonald's today. We saw some continuation with some of the medical devices. Abbott, which I've been talking about the last couple days, almost back to 52-week highs, just like that. 3 days. What else in this group? Boston Scientific strong as well. A couple traders have been all over TMO in the room as well. This was up a little bit today, up a 0.5%. I thought healthcare, son of a gun, this healthcare has been pretty choppy, but something to keep an eye. Again, not didn't exactly close with momentum, but some names. There was a little bit of a call buyer in Lilly today, although Lilly did not close where it should. So now it's good to browse and check out some of these things, but what else? Z, which I got into yesterday, was able to take a target. No, sorry, did I get into yesterday or 2 days ago? Was it two? Or maybe it was yesterday morning I got into. But look at it. You got in. Maybe it was 2 days ago because I got in at 44. Or no, I guess it was at the beginning of the day yesterday. 44.10 I think was my entry price, and I took a target today at 47. So pretty nice move. Other names, the home builders had some nice strength, but they did not. They really took a hit, I think, maybe with the move in rates. But I like this ITB, but this one needs to close above 38.60 to trigger along. Lennar, I took a couple small trades in these, and I was going to decide whether or not to add to it at the end of the day. I decided not to, and I just kind of left the position on for as is. PAGS, another name that has been very strong, that's seen some option activity, and has now closed. Well, we got one more day of the week, but it looks like it wants to close above value, very strong. Another name that looks really good technically for setup, while I'm into a little bit of the international names, is SE, which we talked about this name for a couple times in the trading room. Very strong move today at 1.7% and above value. So, a few other things to look at, and then we'll wrap up today's video. But, I think that things like this, credit spreads, which spiked and are now coming in hard, again, this is where we have trouble when treasuries rally versus high yield, and now this has come in decently. So I think that these are good things for more bullish signs. And again, it doesn't mean like, oh, we go straight up, but these are just better things that you want to see more bullish signs than bearish signs if that's the way that you're leaning. And again, if you see all bearish signs, then you can adopt more of a bearish tone. But if you're starting to see more bullish things, advanced decline line, let's look at both of them. Let's look at the one for the SPX first. Because this breadth was never really breaking down. It started to touch what I think on Friday, but this is the advanced decline line. So this did not break down like we saw back in October and in December. Briefly went below the 50-day moving average. So again, that is also not telling us anything super bearish. And again, we'll analyze the information on a day-by-day basis, and the reason why you would go through these exercises on a day-to-day basis. This one actually did come in a little bit more, but clearly it has found some support here. This is the advanced decline line for all NYSE stocks, so a little bit bigger representation than I think than just the S&P 500. But we go through these exercises on a daily basis to to make sure that the investment landscape or the climate is healthy for investing. And if it starts to really change and give us signs, then we need to adapt. What was another one that I was going to show, which remember we did see a bullish divergence with this one with the VIX. The VIX making another lower high here is bullish, and I think I was getting into a couple discussions with people, and people were thinking, oh, well, the VIX is going to go higher. And I'm like, well, I think it's telling us something, that it's actually not taking out the highs. Rather than, think too deeply about it, just take it for what it is. And we did not take out those May highs here, and I think that was really, one of the few bullish divergences that I saw when I shot my video on Friday after the close. And I said, "Huh, this is one of the few ones that looks positive to me." So anyway, we'll end the video here. More analysis for tomorrow. We'll go through some names on the watch list. It's one of those things where, for me, how I'm managing positions, especially option positions, I'm doing a bit of substitution. Today I was a net seller. After a 3-day rally, I sold more things than I added today, and that's just how after a while, if you're an experienced trader, you kind of learn that not to necessarily sell on the first day of a rally, but the third day, and then of course still have some skin on the game, but start to increase your cash balance, and take some of those profits off the table, and be able to kind of come back in, even if we get some type of a mini dip tomorrow, or in the beginning of next week with more of the tariff stuff. All right, guys, that's it for tonight's video. Have a great night, and see you tomorrow bright and early for the jobs report tomorrow.